Alexa, turn on projector.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to make this YouTube video to describe how I did the projector drop and how I wired the projector together. Some of you watching this video probably think that it was kind of easy because the projectors have a 12-volt trigger, which usually is used to connect to the screen, in which has a 12-volt trigger input. My projector does not have a 12-volt trigger output, and my projector screen did not have a 12-volt trigger input, and I found a workaround, and that is part of the reason why I want to show this video, to show you how I got around that, and also describe to you how I put everything together. So we'll start off by showing you what I did. You heard me tell my Amazon Echo to drop everything down, and I came up with a backup plan in case my Amazon Echo fails, and it'll still be automated. I would just have to press power on my projector, and that will cause everything to go down the same way as you just saw. Let me get my little step stool here. All right, so what you see here is I built this wooden box right here. As you can see, I built it out of plywood and I painted it black. This is a box that is within a box. In the attic, I built another box in which this retracts into. I used cabinet rails that I got at, I think I got it at Lowe's, and I put it there. You definitely want to put cabinet rails on both sides, because when the projector drops down, you want to keep a consistent position. That way you have the framing perfect on your projection screen, and nothing moves around left or right. Otherwise you'll be constantly adjusting your projector framing. So that allows it to, when it drops down, not to move around. Okay, and so within the box, I also built a 2-gang electrical box. The way as you can see right here, here's another switch over here, which is my Wemo switch, and that's what connects the Amazon Echo. When I tell the Amazon Echo to turn on and off, it'll turn that off, or turn that on, which will turn my projector on, because I found a setting in my projector which helped a lot, and the setting is called direct power. So when you power on your projector automatically turns on. What you see here is this is like a laptop speaker, and it works really well because I have not. Okay, so my video cut off for a second, so I will go back to where I left off. In reviewing the first part of the video, I realized I said when you power on your projector, the projector will automatically turn on. But what I meant by that was that setting called direct power. As soon as your projector receives power, like you plug it in, then your projector will automatically turn on. And again, that setting is called direct power. And that was helpful because with the Wemo switch, or it's not a switch. It's it's the Wemo outlet. So when I tell Amazon Echo to turn on that outlet, now the projector receives power and the projector automatically comes on. Okay. So going back to this, it's just a simple speaker that plugs in with USB. It doesn't use a lot of power, but it gives off a lot of sound, and it works. It actually works really, really well. But eventually, I'm sure I'll put in some surround sound or whatever. But okay, going back to what's inside the box. So I told you how the Wemo switch over here supplies power to the projector, but actually I have it plugged into a power strip, and I don't know, it's kind of dark in there. The power strip is back there, okay? And what I actually have it power is the projector and also AC/DC converter for 12 volts. So that way when that powers on, it also, not only does it turn on the projector, but it sends a 12 volt it sends the 12 volt trigger to the linear actuator, which pulls and lets down the projector. And in a minute I will get up into my attic and show you how I have the linear actuator hooked up. But as you can see right here, this is what's holding the box up, is this little eye screw hook thing, and then I have it hooked up to a cable, which that cable I think supports over 200 pounds, and the linear actuator also holds 200 pounds, so that's way more than what I need. And as you can see, I have it wired to a it's a little dark up there, but another eye hook, and then that's also wired to a turnbuckle, I think you call it. And basically what that does is allows you to adjust the length by a couple inches. So when you get it all hooked up and you're trying to make your the bottom here flush with the ceiling, you can adjust it by little inches or centimeters in order to make it perfect. As you can see, I drilled a hole in this second level so I could run the wires through here, and that way I could stuff all the wires in this upper level. So this box right here is just split in half. Not in half, but it's split by this bottom one to one that I could screw the projector into, which I will probably get a universal mount just to make it easier for adjusting. But right now I just have it screwed into wood, the box itself. And it seems to work out really good, but if I want to adjust the framing on there, it can be a little pain in the butt, because I have to reach up in here and adjust screws and stuff like that. And that was all just to save money, because the universal mounts are kind of pricey. But at this point I have so much time and a little bit of money invested in this that it's worth it just to go ahead and buy the universal mount. Okay, so let's talk about how I was able to drop the screen down without a 12 volt trigger. Here is your audio out, which I have that little speaker plugged into right now. But this audio out on most projectors is works as a 12 volt trigger, but this particular Epson projector is one of the few projectors that does not have a 12-volt trigger. And again, a 12-volt trigger is what people would use, like a normal person in a normal situation would use to drop this box down using the linear actuator, and or drop the screen down. Because your screen is plugged in, and also this needs to receive power, but it needs to also receive some kind of signal that says, hey, I turned on the projector, so I need something to happen. So that's where the 12-volt trigger comes into play. And right now what I did was I have my simulated 12-volt trigger plugged into a double pole, double throw relay switch, and that is in the attic. And I'll show you how I wired that up in just a minute. So just to show you the wires that I have right here, so you don't get confused. This is the HDMI cable so that I could just watch cable, and I have it plugged into a splitter over there by my TV over there. So that HDMI cables run there. And then this is just a Amazon Fire Stick, in which we watch YouTube and HBO Go and stuff like that. And then of course this is the power supply to the projector, and again that's just the audio for the speaker that I have there. Okay, so real quick, another thing I wanted to mention was that I went with sheet metal. This is sheet metal right here that I painted with ceiling paint. And the reason why I used sheet metal was because I wanted it to actually overlap the ceiling, because I did not want any kind of gap there. And then also, if it went up a little bit too far or a little bit less, this thing right here, sheet metal's flexible. So that'll allow me to draw it all the way up, and if it goes in a little bit too much, that it'll still appear to be flush. And then this is just a wood that I got at trim that I got at Home Depot or Lowe's, I'm not sure. And then I just 45'd it, as you could see. And then going up here, this was the actual ceiling that I cut. I cut out the ceiling and drilled it to the bottom of the box, because I wasn't sure if I was going to do this yet. Because some people, when they drill it in, they just bring it up into the ceiling and then just bring it flush, and then you end up having like this teeny tiny line that goes all the way around. Sometimes it looks good on people's ceilings, sometimes it doesn't. I think it just depends. But I tried that, and my ceiling was kind of like crumbly, and same with this. So I decided to do frame in the sheet metal and then drill in the sheet metal to there. So incidentally, the sheet metal, as you can see here, is evidence of a screw. When you're on the ground, I'm on a ladder right now, you can't really see that, but don't try to nail in sheet metal. You got to screw it, and then after you screw it, I grinded it down with a metal grinder or an angle grinder to smooth it out, and then painted over it. I have ceiling spray paint and I have ceiling brush paint, and I brushed it on first. I probably could have sprayed it on to where it looked better, but I don't know. I could keep spraying over it, and those little teeny tiny brush lines will dissipate. But just wanted to show you that real quick before we go up in the attic. Okay, so also wanted to show you the front view of this box. As you could see, the front part of the top is solid right here, And on the inner box that I was telling you about earlier, I lined that with sheet metal part way down. And the reason why I lined that with sheet metal is because for some reason, if this projector were to come on while it's inside of the box, it's lined with sheet metal and shooting a hot lamp at metal instead of wood. And so I just feel like that's going to make it safer. And then also the sheet metal comes all the way down to here to make it flush with the ceiling. That way you have straighter lines. Because when you first cut out the ceiling, you're gonna have like a lot of jagged like holes and crumbling and stuff like that. So when I made the sheet metal flush here, all I had to do was fill this with spackle, sand it down, and I haven't gotten around to painting it yet, but it looks pretty good, you know, once you sand it down. And then, as you could see from side view, is you want to make sure that you have just a little bit of space, so it's set in a little bit back. That way you don't risk rubbing the front of the projector on the inside of the box. And then again, I told you I just screwed in the wood so I could adjust these nuts, and then there's another nut on the inside that I would have to use to just kind of lock it into place once I screw in each one. Okay, so we are up in my attic right now, and I just came up through the hole in the attic, and I wanted to real quick show you the projector screen. This is not any kind of special screen. It's just a motorized projector screen in which, thank God, the rafters are running this way, because if they're running the other way, there would be a huge problem. I don't think I would be able to recess this projector screen in the attic. I probably could have just drilled the screen against the rafter. That would have been fine. However, I spaced it out with another 2x4 because I wanted it to be out a little bit further, and because I don't know if you noticed, in my living room we have the TV there, we have other things that I need this thing to drop down in front of, so that's why I had to space it out further. And then we will move on over to the linear actuator, which is right there, and I drilled that into some plywood, and I used a pulley system. And then there, as you see in the middle of the screen, is the outer box of where the projector box goes in and out of, and I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay, so this is the linear actuator. It's just a simple DC motor that just, it's a linear actuator. It just it pulls things up and pushes things forward. It can do, I think, up to 250 pounds. And I have it hooked up to a pulley system because it's really tight in here, and I didn't have enough room, as you can see, to have the actuator just pull the inner box up and down. And I know you see a lot of wires going in and out. It's kind of a mess, but it actually makes sense to me. But I will explain everything, and I do have to clean this up a little bit to make it more to electrical code as best as I can, I guess. I don't want it to be dangerous or anything. But let me explain to you how I have the relay switch hooked up to make this thing activate when the projector goes on and off. Okay, so there you're looking at the motor for the linear actuator right there, And there is the power plug, or the power supply wire. Okay, and as you can see, it comes with 2 wires. The linear actuator, by the way, is very cheap. You can order them online. I ordered mine on Amazon. It was around $100, so not very expensive at all. As you can see, comes in 2 wires, very simple, positive and negative. And you're probably wondering why I have 1 wire spliced into 2 wires. I'll explain that. So I have red going to red. I tried to color code it the best I could. So then you follow the wire. So 2 wires there turn into 4 wires, and it goes into that, which is called a double pull, double throw relay switch. And this is how I simulate the 12-volt trigger. Now, let me explain this to you. So you saw how I have the single red, which is either up or down, and then the black, which is either up or down. And I plugged it into here, my relay switch, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 inputs. So I'll start at the bottom and explain to you what those do. The bottom is what electricians call the coil. That's the bottom 2 right here. These bottom 2 is the coil. Now that is what you plug in your simulated 12-volt trigger into. That's what triggers the relay switch. And what the relay switch does is it just changes the polarity, which means that changes the direction up or down of the actuator. So that's what this is. These 2 are not always receiving power. It's just a trigger, these bottom 2. They call that the coil. This relay switch is rated for 12 volts. So that's what these bottom 2 are giving it, 12 volts. This will not activate if you have any other voltage going into it. It has to be 12 volts to activate it. And then so what I did to get 12 volts was I just you see that there's 2, what you see here is 2 different AC/DC converters, and they both put out 12 volts. That one with the green label in the upper left, that's just an old DirecTV one that I found laying around, and you have to splice into the wires and cut it up, so I didn't want to use anything important. The one in the middle, I ordered that. It's just a regular laptop one, AC/DC converter. So I have two AC/DC converters, 12 volts. One is giving this relay switch the trigger, and then the other one gives it what I call constant power. It's easy for me to understand, but if you look up double pull, double throw relay switches, it will refer to that as common, and that is this next set going up. Okay, so now you have the next 2 coming up. So this one right here, and then on the other side right here, that is your common, which is what I call constant power. Now, I wanted to explain this to you in a way that everyone can understand. So it doesn't matter for the first 4 that I just talked about, this one and that one, which one's positive and which one's negative. That does not matter. This one could be positive, this one could be negative, or this one could be negative and that one could be positive. Same with the next set going up. This can be positive, this one can be negative, or vice versa, okay? So remember, the bottom two, that's your 12-volt trigger. That's what triggers this switch to activate. This is what supplies power, the next setup, okay? Because when you turn off your, when you cut the power, you want your linear actuator, okay, you want it to still retract, okay? So that's why you supply constant power, so that when you turn off your power, that this when you cut off the power to your projector or whatever, you want your actuator to activate. You want it to retract. So that's why you have that constant power there. Okay, so we talked about those four enough. And the reason why I wanted to keep repeating myself and talk about that a lot is because there's a lot of videos out there on double pole, double throw relay switches, and they talk to you like you're an electrician. You know, they say, this is your coil, this is your common. And you're supposed to automatically know what the hell that means. So I wanted to explain that in simple language. This bottom four, or this bottom two, an electrician or a diagram will tell you it's the coil, it's the trigger. That's what you want to plug your trigger into, okay? And then the next setup, that's your constant power. And an electrician or a diagram will refer to that as common, okay? So those are the next two. Okay, so here we have the next four up, okay? And that was, remember I talked to you about the positive and the negative coming out of the motor, okay? So it comes out of 2, and then I spliced them to where it's now 4, okay? And I come back to the switch, and I did an X pattern with these, okay? So we have 4, and so I took red, and then to the right of that, or to next to red is black, and then below the red is black, and then on the other side, the next one down, is red. So it's an X pattern, okay? Now, an electrician will refer to these as NO and NC, which stands for normally open and normally closed. And I can explain to you what up and down is as far as normally open and normally closed, but it depends. So what I suggest is that you just do what I did, which is plug them in an X pattern, and then once you get everything hooked up, you plug in your 12-volt trigger and see if it goes up or if it goes down. And if you want to power on, if you want to supply power, you want the projector to go down. And when power gets cut, you want the projector to go up. So let's say you did it backwards. Let's say that you accidentally made it to where when you supply power, the projector goes up, and when you cut power, the projector goes down. All you have to do, you don't have to go in and switch all these wires around again, or you can if you want. But another way of fixing that is you just switch these 2 wires. You make, which is what I did here. You could see red goes to black, and black goes to red, okay? So that'll switch the polarity without having to go in and switch all these wires around. And that's just for these top 4, okay? Now, if your projector has a 12-volt trigger built into it, then you don't have to worry about adding another AC DC converter. I had to do that because my projector did not have a 12-volt trigger. Okay, so let me explain to you how mine works. Okay, because you can buy an external 12-volt trigger to plug into your projector, and that'll cost you $250. I did it. I found a workaround that costs almost nothing, like 20 bucks maybe. So, and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so here we are looking into the outer part of the box. As you can see, I drilled it to the two rafters to lock it into place, so it doesn't move around at all. And then, so this is the outer box, built it with plywood. There's the top view with the rails, okay? And then here is my power strip that I was talking to you earlier about, okay? Now, remember these AC-DC converters. Remember how I talked about one is plugged into your common, which I refer to as constant power, okay? So, so your constant power, you do not want to plug into that power strip, because that power strip goes on and off, okay? The reason why it goes on and off is because I have it plugged into that Wemo switch. You have to plug your constant power into the 2-gang electrical box that I built. Okay, so when I tell Alexa, the Amazon Echo, to turn on the projector, it's going to power that switch or that outlet. It's going to allow that outlet to supply power to this power switch, or to this power strip. And so the things that I have plugged into this power strip is the AC-DC converter, which is one of those, that acts as the 12-volt trigger. Okay, so as soon as that AC-DC converter that's plugged into the trigger gets power, then the actuator goes down. Okay, and then so incidentally, here's the pulley that I have hooked up. I just drilled it up against this wood right here, which I know it looks like it's coming out, but it actually runs really deep into that wood. Okay, so as you can see, I have an extension cord here, and this extension cord actually runs to the projector, which runs it doesn't supply power to the projector. It supplies power to the AC-DC converter that I have over there, that is plugged into another double pull, double throw relay switch that triggers the screen to go down and up. So the power supply for the projector screen is actually on the other side of my attic, which I will show you, and that is wired differently than how I wired this. Probably didn't need the double pull, double throw relay switch for the projector screen, because it's runs on AC. So I probably could have just used single pull, single throw, and I'll explain to you what the difference is, and that's why I wired that differently. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to talk about was the backup plan in case Amazon Echo stops working, or in case you're trying to do the same thing I am, and you do not have Amazon Echo, and you just want to be able to press power on your remote control and have everything activate. You can still do that. If you do not have the 12-volt triggers built in, you can still do that. I ordered a power strip as a backup plan. It should come in today or tomorrow. I have not gotten it yet. But that power strip, you plug in the master power. So you would plug in your projector to that master power. Then you would do what I did here with the extra AC-DC converter that's going to act as your 12-volt trigger. You would plug that into to the it's on the power strip and it's color coded. Obviously this power strip's not the one I'm talking about. I'll be getting in a day, but it's like a secondary thing, so it acts as though, okay, if this is powered off, then I'll power this plug on. So that'll come in, and you could order those. I ordered mine on Amazon, and basically they made those so that, like, let's say you're plugging in your computer is connected to your printer, speakers, and other things, to where if you turn off your computer, then everything else turns off. Or if you turn on your computer, then everything else turns on. And it's just a power strip, and it's quite colorful. And it has it's like color coded with green or red. And you just plug in that main power, which yours would be the projector. You plug that into the master power. And then so when you turn off the projector, it turns off your 12-volt trigger, which will then cause your linear actuator to retract. And remember, you would not plug in your constant power or your common into that strip. You would plug that into another outlet to where that is constantly receiving power. Okay. So it can get a little bit confusing, and that's why I'm repeating myself, because when you're sitting down looking at your relay switch and you're like, okay, what supplies power? There's two power parts, the trigger and then the common, which is the constant power. Now, don't get confused with the two AC-DC converters. It just so happens that the linear actuator operates on a 12-volt DC current, and coincidentally the relay switch over there also is activated by 12 volts. So that's why we have two AC-DC converters that both put out 12 volts. Okay, so I will take you to the other side of my attic, where I'll show you how I wired the projector screen. But before I go over there again, I'm going to show you this. This is the extension cord that's plugged into the power strip here, because I want this to, because this is connected to another AC-DC converter, which is triggering another double pole, double throw relay switch. So when that power strip loses power, this no longer supplies power, and it triggers my double pole, double throw relay switch, and that causes the projector screen to go up. Okay, all right. Okay, so here we are on the other side of my attic, and what you're looking at right now is a another 2-gang box, electrical box, that I had to hook up in order to help make this work. This wire right here is the projector wire, and here's where I had to cut into it, and that should look familiar to you. That is the exact same double pole, double throw relay switch that is near the linear actuator. It's not the one, but it's the same brand and everything. And as you can see, I spliced right into the middle of this power cable, and it runs to my projector screen. right here. Please ignore the messiness of my attic. I just bought this house a couple years ago. It's from the 50s, very old insulation and all that. But and here's why I had to splice into the middle of the power wire for the projector, because the projector came with this switch. Okay, now this projector screen, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but it is a very inexpensive one. I thought it was pretty good quality for the price, but it was only 200 bucks, and it has no brand. There is no brand associated with this projector screen. I bought this projector screen on Craigslist from a guy selling them out of his garage for 200 bucks. In researching, the wiring to do this project, I found the exact same projector screen on jet.com. That's JET.com. And even on there, it didn't list a brand or anything. Did show a picture of the motor, which a lot of it was in Chinese. So I assume that these projector screens are made in China. So it also came with a remote switch, and but this is the switch that was hardwired in, and I wanted to show you. You can't, as far as I know, you cannot, or from what I've tried to do, you cannot do this. You cannot hook up a double pulled or any relay switch and make this work without cutting out the manual switch. Okay, so let me show you how I did this. This was the power. Okay, this was going to the power, and it's got 3 wires here. Obviously, you got your hot wire here. You got your neutral, and then you got green, which is ground. Okay, and then it runs into the switch, and then coming out of the switch, which goes into the projector, you now have 4 wires. Okay, and I'll explain what these wires are. This tan wire here is up. This black wire here is down, or vice versa. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter, I think, because once you wire it, if it goes opposite direction, you'll just have to switch them. But it's important to know that these are basically both hot. Okay, these are both essentially, these are both black wires. Okay, and this so it's directional. All right, but one's up, one's down, but they're both you're hot. Okay, and then this green and yellow striped one, that's your ground. Okay, and your blue one right here is neutral, or your return. It's does the same thing as your white wire. Okay, so that's why you have 4 wires here. Now the wiring for this is much more simpler than wiring your linear actuator. Okay, now I used a double pull, double throw relay switch, but I probably only needed a single pull, single throw relay switch, because you only need your up. Okay, I'm gonna start from the bottom again. Okay, there is your 12-volt trigger, or coil, as an electrician referred to these bottom 2 as coil. It is your 12-volt trigger. Okay, and let's follow that. That goes to the AC/DC converter, which puts out a 12-volt, which puts out the 12-volt signal. Okay, or the 12-volt volt. Ignore this right here. It's just a DVR from my security camera. Security cameras. Okay, and remember that I have this plugged into a a an extension cord, and that extension cord we were just looking at earlier over there by the box that I made where the projector is at. Okay, so remember, when that power strip turns on or turns off, when power is cut, then that will flip a switch over here inside of this relay switch. Okay, and then next one up, this might get a little confusing because I used a white wire, a white colored wire. Okay, but the next one up is hot. Okay, and there is not one on the other side. I did not put one on the other side because it's not needed. All right, so this next wire, when I wired these two wires together without the switch, I'll follow the wire for you. It goes into your black, okay, your hot wire, which is coming out of the power, right? Okay, so remember, from your power, you're going to have 3 wires inside of this wire here. Okay, remember, and it looks like this. Okay, so this black wire right here, that's your hot. All right, that is getting plugged into this one up right here, this second one up right here. And again, I know it's a little confusing because I connected it using a white wire. I don't remember why I did that, but I used a white wire. Okay, so the next one up from there is those 2 ones I wired it to this white one. The red one is those 2 wires. One was black and one was tan. Those are the directional wires, those ones that I was telling you that are both hot. They're both like black wires. I wired that to the white one I wired to black, and the red one I wired to tan, or vice versa. I think actually I wired the red one to the black one here, and so that is up, and then the next one down is down. So the 2 are directional. So just to give you a little bit another overview, once the 12-volt trigger goes into it, this hot that's coming from the wall, that's coming from power, or what I call constant power, or what electricians call common, is going in this next one above, and that supplies power that connects to one of these up or downs. Okay, it allows the direction to happen. Okay, so that's how I have this one wired. And the reason why I could have used a single pole, single throw relay instead of a double pole, double throw relay on this projector is because I think because the projector works on AC power and not DC. So because it's AC, I don't need to do the X pattern thing like I did with the linear actuator. And okay, so so I wanted to get a closer look on how these wires get wired together, because not all of the wires go to the switch here. The wires that get just wired together that don't go to the switch is one is ground, which you can see right here. Remember, I was telling you the green and yellow striped wire, that is your ground, so that just gets wired directly to your green wire there. And then also remember, I was telling you that the blue wire coming from the projector is your neutral, and remember how I was saying that's the same as your white. Okay, so those just get wired together, your blue gets wired to the white, and it does not go to your relay switch. And same with the ground, does not go to the relay switch, it just gets wired together. Okay, and then so remember, you have a black wire from your power, okay, and that gets wired to your constant power, okay, which is that second one up right there. That's, I know, remember, confusing. This is a white wire, but actually it's black, and it's coming from your wall, coming from your power there, okay. And then so you have two more wires coming from your projector. That's the black one. Okay, so it's one of these. Here's the tan one, but the black one that's coming from the projector, remember, that's up or down, and same with your tan wire, that's either up or down, and that gets wired directly to your switch, and it's going to be one of the two top ones, up and down, and that's how those get wired together. Also, incidentally, this is all, like, I left this all open here so I could describe in the video how I do this, but this is actually very dangerous. These, as you can see on the relay switch, those wires are kind of exposed. That's going to be put inside of a plastic box. Same with the other one. The other relay switch is going to be put inside of a PVC electrical box to keep it unexposed. Because if I were to just like start touching those wires right now, I could shock myself. So just with all this wiring stuff, just remember, of course, I know you could tell I'm not an electrician, but you have to, when you're doing this, just be as safe as possible. Be careful what you touch, and also make sure stuff is unplugged when you're messing with it. You know, make sure your AC DC converter, power supply, and then also make sure that your projector is unplugged. And when you're doing anything electrical to the house, you want to make sure you turn off that switch in your electrical panel. But yeah, I know this looks like a mess right now, but again, I'm not done cleaning it up, and when I show it, it's easier to show it this way on a video so you can see which wire is going where, but all this will be covered up. All right. Okay, I hope that video helped you out with the project. If you're trying to do a similar project with a projector or projector screen, and you don't have a 12-volt trigger, you know, if I don't count how much money I spent on the projector and the projector screen, then I would say I spent, you know, maybe $200 to set this up. So, but one last thing I wanted to cover before I turn off the video is part of the backup plan, which is the if you don't have Amazon Echo or the Wemo switches, then you can a problem that you're going to run into is that when the projector is recessed above the screen or above the ceiling, all projectors use an infrared remote, so you will not be able to power on your projector unless you have an IR repeater, which is this guy right here. It was only 30 bucks on Amazon, and basically you just drill an inconspicuous hole in your ceiling, and then you expose one of these little light receivers, the infrared receiver thing, and then you plug into the other side near your projector. This wire would go near your projector above the ceiling, and that'll allow you to turn on your projector And remember, you'd have to use that in combination with that special power strip that I was telling you about, where you plug your power for your projector into the power strip in the master section, and then subsequently when the power goes on for the projector by turning it on with the remote, that will cause power to go to your 12 volt triggers that you made using the AC DC power supplies. And let me see, am I forgetting anything? Feel free to leave comments and ask questions, and I'll try to get back to you with any questions you have. Okay, thanks.